On the morning of October 7th, I was in my apartment with my partner, Yuval, and our dog, Parker. And on 6:29, we heard the alarm, and we ran to the shelter like everyone else.
It was a beautiful festival. I arrived at around 2:45 in the morning with my DJ. And I remember very clearly going to one of the producers, to Nimrod, who is a very close friend of mine, and telling him that I'm very proud of them because it felt amazing.
My name is Yael Bonet. I'm 23 years old and I live in Israel, born and raised. I was at the attack of the 7th October, the Nova Festival.
I'm from Tel Aviv. From Sha'arei Tikva, basically, it's like a small village, 30 minutes from Tel Aviv.
My name is Michael. I'm 29 years old. I'm from Rishon LeZion, which is based in center of Israel. 7th of October for me was a date that I figure out just later, not in the same day, of course. I started up this day with driving to a music festival with good friends of mine. And of course, in 6/29, the whole experience has changed.
I arrived to the festival area on Friday, on October 6th. I went to work with my best friend, Liron Barda.
I knew I'd fall in love with the people, the vibe, the spirit, the freedom of it all.
At 6:20 I went on stage. Yarin was playing his set and I wanted to film him because I knew he would be playing new music towards the end.
So about 6:15 a.m. We entered to the main bar. We counted money. And when we got out from the bar, we saw a lot of people running. The music was still playing, so we didn't understand what's going on.
At that moment, I saw what looked like 1,000 missiles coming from Gaza.
During this day, we started to realize that it's something else. Something bigger is happening. And we couldn't tell really what it is and how big it is. We just knew that there are terrorists entered Israel and there are rockets all the time.
And then Liron looked up at the sky and she told me, look, Mai, there are rockets. So at first we started to laugh because we used rockets in Israel, unfortunately. And something like, after like 10 minutes, I felt like there is something else.
And then 6:30 it all started. And so my friend who brought me has PTSD from the army. So for him, the missiles that began and the alarm that went off already triggered something in him.
And I found myself running to center stage to one of the producers and telling him that we need to stop the music because there's missiles. And then he ran to the DJ and told him to turn off the music. And when we did that, we looked into the crowd and we could see that everyone was very confused.
And then about 7:15 a.m. I got a phone call from my friend that she screamed in my phone, like, I see a terrorist and I see blood and I see dead people.
We tried to get away with the car. We got in the car, like all 5 of us, and we started to driving back out.
We were one of the first cars on that road, so there were 2 cars in front of me at some point. The 2 cars in front of me hit the brakes really hard, and the first car started to turn a U-turn back. And the second car just rammed straight into it.
So Liron and I ran to the first police officer that we saw. And while we ran to him, Liron got a phone call from a bartender, and he told her that he got shot on his back and on his leg. And he wants Liron to record him that he could say goodbye to his mom.
And that's when we encountered the terrorists. They were on a pickup truck, a white pickup truck, that blocked the route. I remember them like coming up. It was like a sort of a hill, like we didn't see under like the road, but they like came from downhill, came and like blocked all of the 3 lanes that this route had. It's the 232 route.
After a few minutes, the shooting started to get closer and closer, and we started to hear them as metal things that pass really close to you. And this shooting is started to feel like it was aiming towards us.
Then it's all started to be chaotic, and injured people came to our area from the traffic. And at that moment, it was the craziest thing that I ever saw. Like, I couldn't process it. And Liron, she helped everyone.
And so they blocked, and they just got out, jumped on their truck and started firing everywhere at all of the cars that were in front of us, and we were like 2-3 cars behind them.
And the moment I opened my car door, a bullet flew this far from my head. It wasn't a noise I didn't recognize, but I was very surprised. There was a bullet, and then another one, and another one. And that sound is something that can't be mistaken. I looked up, and in front of me, about 20 meters in front of me, was a man. He was in full IDF uniform, and he was looking me straight in the eye and just shooting like crazy. And it took me a moment to realize that he was holding a gun in the way that I know IDF soldiers don't, and I know that they don't shoot on automat. And when that clicked in my mind, I realized that this is a terrorist.
And so we left the car, we left all of our belongings in the car, and that's where we split, because the shots were getting so close, we had to just like run for our lives and quit everything. So the driver stayed in the bushes. The gunshots are coming from everywhere, so we didn't feel safe. We felt that we would just die if we'll stay in place, that we have to keep running.
I felt like I'm going to die. So I sent my family a goodbye message. I told Liron to send one also, but she refused. And I took my Tehillim. I always carry one with me. I took my Tehillim from the RV, and I decided to enter to the police command post. I sat under the table, and suddenly, like 50 people came in. We all sat on the floor, and police officers came in they stood with their weapon, and one of them turned to us and yelled, "It's Shabbat today, it's Sukkot today, you need to pray as hard as you can and run for your life."
I got out of the car door, and I was crouching behind the car door for a moment, and I started feeling bullets hitting around my feet, and they were coming from behind. And I looked behind me, and about 10 meters behind me was another terrorist, this time clearly a terrorist, because he had a green Hamas strip on his head and a t-shirt. He was close enough to me for me to be able to see the huge smile he had on his face.
And my mother, she said to me that my father spoke to her. He called her around 9 a.m., 9:30. And he told her, "Honey, everything is okay. I'm treating the wounded, so I can't talk right now. We're gonna talk later." And she told me later that something about the honey was strange, because my father never called her honey before. He used to call her by her name.
I saw a lot of injured people running with me. I saw injured police officers. They're trying to help us and save us, but you can see people are injured. It's not a regular thing to see an injured police officer.
Someone is calling me, a guy named Yagil, and he tells me, "Hi Nitzan, you don't know me, but I know your father for 10 years. He was working with us in all the festivals. And I recognized him in the field, and he's not alive."
At that moment, I probably lost consciousness, because when I opened my eyes, I found myself alone with two people that I don't know. It was silence outside and the door was open. And then I told myself, okay, that's how you're going to die. And then I told myself, even if you die today, you need to run and do not surrender. So I started to run, and then I saw Liron with a policewoman. They helped to injured one to get on a stretcher. So I just waited there, and I waited to Liron to come with me, but she turned to my direction, and she didn't look me in the eyes, but she looked at my direction, and with all her energy told me to run on my life. And I started to run, and the bullets started to whistling above me.
I remember a girl that was with us who was hysterical. She was talking with her mom on the phone, so telling her that she's not going to make it, that she's going to die, that that people are shooting her, that she doesn't know what to do. And so I remember I felt like very scared that they're going to find us because she was so hysterical. And so I like talked to her mom, told her I'm sorry, but we have to hang up and we have to keep running, and we can't I'm sorry, she's going to make it. Everything's going to be fine if we just keep going.
I looked to my left because there was a field there, and I thought maybe I could make a run for it. But there were 20 or 30 other terrorists just running in from the field, shooting in every direction. And that was the moment that I realized that this is it. I realized that this is how I'm going to die. And for a moment, it felt like I did. I was anticipating pain. But when I didn't feel any pain, it was just, okay, so I'm dead. And when that happened, I completely disconnected from my body, and I was looking at the situation from above. And a lot of people say that in a moment like this, they say their goodbyes and their thank yous. I had none of that. The only thing I had in my mind was, not yet. I still have more to do. And again, and again, and again, and again, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet.
After a few minutes, I saw an ambulance in the middle of the open field. So I told myself, okay, that's where I'm going to hide. And when I get there, I saw a lot of people hiding inside the ambulance, under the ambulance. And suddenly I felt like inner guts, like it's a death trap that I can't stay there. And then I saw someone waving at us from the open field and told us that it's more safe where we was. So I decided to run. I ran to him alone. And when I got to him, suddenly a car came from nowhere, from the open field. I thought it was a terrorist, but it was someone from the festival, and he told us that he know how to rescue us from there. So we got in on his car, and I sat at the front seat, and the guy who waved at me, Avi, sat in the back seat.
And then we heard yelling from the car behind us. There was a woman. She was laying on the ground. She was shot in her elbow and in her knee. She was yelling, "I'm alone, help me." And I don't know what made us make that decision, but under very heavy fire, we somehow managed to get her out from underneath the car and put her in the back of my car. And at this point, there are about 30 terrorists just surrounding us, and the bullets are just missing me. There's no explanation to how, but they were just missing me. I got them both in the car, and then a guy from the other side got in behind the DJ, and at this point, the car is full. I got in the driver's seat, and I looked ahead of me, and the cars were blocking the road, and behind them there was 2 pickup trucks with terrorists on them. I could see the RPGs, I could see more guns. I looked in my rearview mirror, and the car that was behind me was about 20 meters, stopped about 20 meters behind me. The driver was shot in the head, so that car wasn't moving anywhere. And by some ability that to this day I cannot explain, I managed to somehow reverse and turn on the spot. And I was turning back south, and I could see that in the 3 or 4 minutes that we were surrounded there by terrorists, more terrorists had lined up on both sides of the road. and they were shooting every car that was coming towards us, and people were running in between these cars and falling to the ground. And I was sitting there for 30 seconds that felt like a lifetime, just watching a massacre, just watching people fall to the ground.
And that's the first time that I realized the situation, because I saw a lot of dead bodies, burned cars, and I sat on the car's floor, put my Tehillim on my head, and started to yell Shema Israel. And Avi, the guy who sat behind me, joined me, and we're together, Shema Israel, in repeats, and the terrorists started to shoot on our car.
So when I made the decision to hit the gas, I told everyone in the car to lower their heads. I looked to the sky for a moment. I did not believe in God up until that point, but I felt like I should ask him to help me here. And I asked, please let me make it through this. I need to do more. And then I hit the gas. And the moment I did that, the terrorist closest to me on the right just turned, locked eyes with me in the car, and shot the whole side of the car. I could see the bullets hitting inside the car, outside the car. The dashboard was raising dust.
I yelled at the driver, no matter what, do not stop. And he made a U-turn, but he didn't stop to shooting at us. So he didn't have a choice, and we got back to the open field, and then the car stuck.
You rarely have time to think. The adrenaline took over once we saw them. Like it was, I remember like this shock at the beginning from the horrible sound of like the gunshots hitting the cars, and just the and everything.
And I realized that I'm in open field and I have no way where to hide, and they probably after me. So I sat on the ground, considered to give up. I was tired and exhausted. And after what I saw, I felt like there is no chance. And then I look around and I saw Avi, the guy who waved at me. And he ran to me. I asked him where is the driver, and he made a face like, I don't know, he disappeared. And he told me to get up, and we continue running together.
Today I know that my car was the only car that made it out of that stretch of road. Over 70 people were killed on that stretch of road. About a dozen more were kidnapped. The guy that was driving behind me was murdered and kidnapped into Gaza. He was brought back last May. His body was brought back last May. He's a father to 2 children.
And then he saw a hole in the ground. So we decided to get in, and I had a jacket and he had a bag. So he put his bag on his head, I put my jacket on my head, and then we held hands and we pray. And that's the first time that he told me that his name is Avi and he's married and he had children.
I called the police. We were the first call to the police that morning. I'm talking 7 a.m. And they thought we were pranking them when we told them what we witnessed. And I called an ambulance, and the ambulance said, you can stop on the side of the road and we'll come take the injured from you. And every instinct, every bone in my body knew that I could not stop. So I drove without stopping for a second. I blew every red light on the way. And I drove straight to Sorka Hospital in Beersheba. And when we arrived there, we were the first ones there that morning. And I dropped off the injured people before I went to park my car. And when I did that, I went in. They were already to be taken care of. And the woman at the front desk, she raised her eyes at me and she said, "Hi, good morning, how can I help you?" I thought I'd gone insane.
And I told him even if we need to stay here like 3 days, that's what we're going to do. And we was in completely silence. And after like 20 minutes, we suddenly heard footsteps on the dry leaves. and he told me, "Maider here." And then we heard someone standing above us and laughing, and then whistling to another one, and another one, and another one. And they yelled at us to get up, but we didn't move. And they pulled me first, and when I opened my eyes, I saw that it was only Avi, me, and 8 terrorists in a civilian clothes with cold weapons like knives and woods and hammers. One of them was 14 years old child with flip-flop and knife on his hand. And then they pulled Avi, and Avi was on his knees, and he begged them and offered them money. And I don't know how, but I realized that that's what they're looking for, like the victim, the fear. So I told Avi to get up and that everything is going to be fine. And he looked at me with like helpless look, but he got up. And then they all turned to my direction. And with looks on their eyes and energy that every woman knows. So I disconnected and I told God, God whom I believe in, not going to let them not rape me, not kill me, and not kidnap me. And I believe in you, and do what you gotta do. I have nothing to do here, like I'm nothing. And the first one started to touch my hand, and then he saw my tattoo and my scar that I have in my right arm.
And only the next day around like 4 p.m., the police came and told us the official notification that my father was murdered by Hamas terrorists. This is the day for us.
And the main leader came and dressed me with his jacket, and I didn't understand what's going on, but for me, I saved from rape, I saved from everything. And then the main leader took my hand, and the other hand, he had like an explosive device. And he took my hand, and then he told in the walkie-talkie, we have 2 more hostages. So I asked him, are you kidnapping us? And he told me yes. So I disconnected again. And I told God that the only thing that I can do is to walk very slowly. So we walked with them like 1 hour, 1.5 hours to the main road in the open field. And then we saw 2 dead bodies on the ground, and they put us on our knees. And they check if the dead bodies are really dead, and they took from them like the phones and their bags, and they stole from the dead bodies everything. And then the main leader told me to get up. We took like 2 steps, and then I turned around and I called Avi, and I saw that he was still on his knees. And the main leader told me not talk. And then I saw that they took Avi's head back like ISIS, and 6 of them stabbed him several times on his neck in front of my eyes. And I stayed with them alone. And then we got to a car, and they all sat at the back seat. The child, 14 years old children that was with them, start the car, and the car won't start. At that moment, I felt God. I knew that he was with me, and that I felt like I'm going home. I don't know how, but I'm going home today. And then they started to arguing between them, like their plan was ruined. And then he told me to go with him to the festival area, back to the festival area, not to the main road, like. And all the way, I asked him questions. I show him no fear. Everything that I saw on the ground, cigarettes, I gave him drink, I gave him everything, like show him that I'm with him and I'm not running. And suddenly they all entered to the main bar and they tried to open the cashiers. So I helped them. And I heard like screaming between them. Like I didn't understand what they're saying, but at first I thought that the army is coming. But when I look around, I saw a lot of terrorists with weapons and guns, and it was only me. Dead bodies, terrorists, and me. And then the main leader told me to bring him his jacket back. And the other one, the one who killed Avi, he ran to me. He put his knife on my cheek. And he told me, if you go, I kill you. So I raised my hand and I told him that I'm not going anywhere. And they just started to fight. And he told me, Yalla, go. The main leader told me, Yalla, go. But I didn't move. And then he told me again, Yalla, go. So I started to run. I look around, I saw that they didn't chase me. And then I realized that I have to hide because there was a lot of more terrorists all around. And I got to the small stage, the mushroom stage. And while I got there, I saw two dead bodies. One of them was dead bar jail. And I lay next to him and I took his blood from his head and put on my cheek, on my face, to look dead, because I saw that the bar in front of me was sorry, I'm very excited to talk about it. It made me. In front of me was the small bar. And the terrorist made a death confirmation on the dead bodies. I saw everything, so I realized that I have to look dead. And I just lay there 2.5 hours. And after 2.5 hours, I suddenly heard Hebrew. I screamed help. And then I saw Yagil, the first one that I told you that we ran to him, and I saw him with he was no injured, so it was the first time that I felt like I have someone to count on except God.
I'm sitting in an ER 20, 30 kilometers from where we were. No one's injured, no one. I couldn't even see the people that I brought in, so maybe I imagined all this. And after about 15 minutes, the first ambulance came with people from a bomb shelter that was bombed with grenades. When they told me that, I realized I wasn't imagining. And not only was I not imagining, it was way worse than I could have thought.
And about 7 p.m., I got a phone call, and my friend told me that Liron didn't make it. The one of the injured that I saw with, she refused to abandon her, so she stayed with her until the terrorists got. They shot her back 3 times, and since then, that's what I'm doing. I'm passing. Liron lived every day. Her motto was, "You only live once." And since then, it's her right and legacy. And I pass it to everyone who hears me.
I think that was the first time that I realized that even though there's like a huge darkness and it's very hard to deal with all of it, there are like things that are good.
Sometimes I feel guilty that I shouldn't be feeling stuff because I'm alive. I survived. I didn't get hurt. I didn't get shot.
I always say that this day made me realize that we really live one moment. Because one moment you're at a festival, you're having fun, you're dancing, you're laughing, and the other moment you're fighting for your life.
We would like to show the world that we came to dance in nature on a Saturday morning and 411 of our friends didn't make it home. That we still have friends being held in tunnels underneath Gaza, being starved for the only crime being going out to dance in nature.
I don't think about that morning necessarily as much as I think about the hostages, as much as I see them everywhere, as much as I feel like that really. First of all, you see their faces. You have a feeling that you are in some way responsible for their coming back. Like, it's crazy to me that it's been so long and that they're not back. So
for me personally, as a survivor, I think it's very difficult to struggle to dealing with everything and all the feeling and emotions that going up after such an occasion. But I think the hardest thing for me in my healing process, I really think that I can't really deal with all the feelings and everything until all the hostages don't come home.
These terrorists, the ones that shot at me and smiled, were raised to hate me so vividly that killing me was a good thing to do. I want no child anywhere in the world to be raised to hate that badly. That's the message I want. I want us to be able to not hate out of fear of something that's different than us. I want people to dance more in nature and listen to more music and hug a little bit more and hate a little bit less.
People went to a festival to dance or to work, like my father, and they didn't come back.
Of course, I would like to have peace, but I don't think we can achieve peace so easily after what we've been through in the 7th of October.
The fact that I'm here, it's a part of my healing process. It's about people that was producers of festival, and they just decided to be something for other survivors. They didn't have to, and they just made a foundation that could help to survivors and bereaved families. And I can tell you that this community, when I'm with the people from the community, I feel like I can be anything and everything that I want, and they understand me without words. They understand you, and you feel like you're okay, that you have your people. So this community is a light in my life right now.